Finding the right balance between lore and gameplay is definitely challenging. Elite specializations inevitably fall under this conundrum, and their delivery, in a game that prefers to tie lore to gameplay mechanics whenever possible, is perplexing. Don't get me wrong, I love most of the concepts they introduced for the elite specializations. With Heart of Thorns, there really wasn't any lore associated with the specializations. The only prominent influences that I can think of were Braham for the Dragon Hunter, Ritlock for the Herald, and perhaps, even if more loosely, the Maguman druids for the Druid. Most of the rest, like the Scrapper, the Daredevil, and the Berserker, can be interpreted as mere adaptations or reactions to the harsh environment of the jungle we so suddenly were thrown into. Path of Fire definitely expanded on the origin of the elite specializations it introduced, by intelligently presenting and explaining them through NPCs found in the world. Most of these mentors, as we could call them, are humans though, with the Renegade being a char as the only exception. While this sort of makes sense, given that the elite specializations must be studied thoroughly to fully be comprehended, and humans are the prevalent race in Elona, more variety on the mentor side could have been interesting. As an example, the Soul Beast's mentor could have been an Elonian ogre. Their models were completely new, and they are notoriously known to be accompanied by pets. I tried to theme my specializations around the depths of Tyria. I focused mostly on the lore, without specifically detailing traits, skills, and unique profession mechanics. The Necromancer would become the Osteomancer, wielding a shield. By venturing further into the depths of Tyria, Necromancers came in contact with Groll tribes, eager to share with them their morbid interest towards skulls, bones, and the creation of effigies. Osteomancers delved deeper into the dark arts by harnessing ancient tribal magics. They would exploit the hidden powers of calcaneous and cartilaginous formations to enhance both their defense and offense, gaining access to a new shroud form, the Ivory Shroud, and they would aid and support their allies with a unique kind of effigy. The Engineer would become the Lapidary, wielding a staff. Asuran engineers were illuminated upon the discovery of this inherent property of magic. While simultaneously being present in high concentrations and in a standstill state, magic can and will coalesce, often giving birth to magical crystals. Not much time had to pass for engineers to manipulate these natural formations, to transmute them into useful tools. Many crystals were scavenged from natural deposits. More were synthesized via the aid of Asuran Magitech. Regardless of their origin, one step is always necessary, the cutting process, which varies depending on the specific magic in exam and helps the crystals, now gemstones, reach their highest magical potential. The warrior would become the Venator, wielding a trident. Going into the depths proved fruitful for warriors. Dwelling deep down in a remote underwater chasm is an isolated group of Largos in need of help. After aiding them with their problems, the Largos shared as a payoff their renowned but secret ways of hunting. Venators would learn to hunt like a Largos, stalking and frightening their prey from the shadows. You could play with Master or Grandmaster traits by associating to each one a different set of weapon skills for the trident, to best suit your preferred hunting style. The Elementalist would become the Juggernaut, double-wielding maces. Following a momentary rest from the ceaseless attacks of the destroyers, the stony dwarves made elementalists realize that sometimes magic alone is not the answer, but brute force can definitely be. By mixing the two, juggernauts can now crack even the toughest of rocks, metals, and natural armors. But their newly acquired fearlessness would make them even more vulnerable. Before striking into attack, inspired by the dwarves, they would cover their body with impenetrable stone. The thief would become the Soothsayer, wielding a focus. Thieves were surprised when, in the depths, they encountered an alien kind of fungus, previously found only in a displaced extra-dimensional pocket in Jahai Bluffs, indirectly manifested by Krakatorik's turbulent influence. Upon safer inspection, the psychohallucinogens properties of these alien bioluminescent mushrooms were easily exploited by thieves, now soothsayers, for the purpose of tricking the enemy, or whoever they please, into believing whatever vision might rise from coming in contact with these otherworldly spores. The Ranger would become the Turmoil, wielding a hammer. Exhausted by the seemingly endless assaults of Primordius' slaves, and by their deranged destruction of nature, Rangers are now determined to exterminate every destroyer single-handedly. By following them into the depths, and equipped with a mighty double-handed hammer, Turmoils embrace the destroyer's destructiveness against them, by heavily disrupting the landscape in an attempt to hunt the fiery draconic spawn out of their tunnels, and finally put an end to their hellish reign. The Mesmer would become the Mimicker, wielding a shortbow. Instead of generating clones and phantasms of themselves to confound their adversaries, Mimickers would mirror the resemblance of whoever may come in their way, in an attempt to hide in plain sight, and possibly confound the enemy even more. Their trusty shortbows would transmute along with them, to best suit the facade. For example, if their target was wielding a rifle, their shortbow would transmute into one, or even split in two if the target happened to double-wield daggers. The Guardian would become the Beacon, wielding a warhorn. By observing dredge activities over and under the ground, Guardians concluded that for traversing the depths, sight is secondary, but hearing is everything. Beacons realized that the dredge's resonating and sonic technologies are ideal for safely traversing the depths. And aided by one mole-like mentor, Guardians engineered the perfect piece of magitech to guide their allies in the dark recesses of Tyria's deepness, and expose even the most well-hidden of threats. The Revenant would become the Incubus, wielding a main hand axe. Hoping to find new powers to channel, Revenants will be tempted to reach for the deepest corners of the mists. Those foolish or ignorant enough to completely expose themselves came in contact with an echo that somehow felt as if it was reaching from a place deeper than the mists themselves. Once a clear link was established, the mysterious echo presented itself with the name of Kanaxai, a long-gone demonic entity who inhabited the deep, far below the Kantan Jade Sea. Many struggled with this ancient power, more lost the battle. Unable to contain it, they turned mad, or worse, they perished. Those strong enough to contrast the echo were able to harness incredible nightmarish powers, giving form to various aspects of their minds at the expense of the enemy.